Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La Yahaba Shem Yahshaba Shem Hakudash, and double honors to the greatest of the apostles. Thought they have share for the strength and all to make this video, and Yara Tazar that this also helps to build up your spirit too. Just a brief introduction again. When we say Kal Halalim La, that means all praises to in the ancient Hebrew. Kal means all, Halalim means praises. Halal is the singular form, which means praise. Halal Yam means praises in plural. And then when we say La, we're saying all praises to. La means to. And when we say Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Yahweh is the name of the Most High God. His name meaning He is, He exists, or He is to be. And when we say Bahashem, we're saying in the name. Ba means in, Ha means the, Sham, Sham means name. And when we say Yahushai, we're saying He delivers. And that's the real name of the Messiah, not Jesus Christ. That's what the world ignorantly calls Yahushai, man. But the real name of the Messiah is Yahushai. And that's why we say Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, man. So, that's just a brief ancient Hebrew introduction. Oh, and also when we say Racha Kodash, we're saying spirit holy. Racha means spirit. Kodash means holy. So, in other words, it's saying through the Holy Spirit, that's how we're connected to Yahushua. Through Yahushua, that's how we then get intervention with Yahweh, man. Which is through Yahushua being our mediator. Alright, so I said I was going to continue with the part 2. So, new day, new video. I'm going to start off with, because, part 2 to the other video, Jonathan, Faith at the Edge. Because obviously Jonathan and a few other examples that I'm going to list out in this video were actually at the edge of faith, man, where you had to take the risk, and that risk was quite a high risk, man, where you could cause yourself death as well. Or you could weaken yourself to a very, very low point. So it says here in verse, hold on. I'll read verse 29 and I'm going to jump to the point. So verse 29, remember this is in 1 Samuel chapter 14, after, the Philistines, after Jonathan and his armor bearer fought, actually killed off 20 men in the garrisons, the Philistine garrisons, when the Philistines and the Israelites were fighting. Later on, they were tired. Saul made a foolish statement saying that, okay, no one's going to eat until, they've slayed the Philistines, essentially. Yeah. Let me even get that again. What Saul said. Yeah, he put a curse on the people who would eat. Let me read it. So 1 Samuel 14:24, and the men of Israel were distressed that day. For Saul had adjured the people, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food until evening, that I may be avenged on mine enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. And of course, they would have been tired, man. You're flipping, hiding out in the rocks, got all that adrenaline coming in, which after the adrenaline, you gotta have that, low, so that your body gets into homeostasis. Homeostasis, which is just the balance of your hormones. So even then, Jonathan was also tired from all that slaying as well. So, he saw the honey. He wasn't aware of the statement that, or the curse that Saul put out, so he then, Jonathan dipped his stick in the honey, and then he ate it, man. And he was enlightened, he felt that nourishment and that, he felt the dopamine chemicals, if you want to get technical. So that happened. So now I'm going to read on from verse 29. The people said, your father said this, so they informed him, and this was Jonathan's response. So 1 Samuel 14:29, then said Jonathan, my father hath troubled the land. See, I pray you, how mine eyes have been enlightened, because I tasted a little of this honey. How much more if happily the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies which they found, for had there not been now a much greater slaughter among the Philistines. You see? So of course, if they were free to eat, then there would have been more gain in the battle, man. They would have been able to slay more men, because they would have had more strength as well. Because it ain't easy fighting in a fasted state. Try fasting for even one day if you're not used to that. you see that the vessel grows it grows a tad bit weak, if you ain't moving around too much. It grows a tad bit weak. Even if you move around, you still feel it anyways. You start to get lightheaded, especially when you go for the extended ones, like 2 days and above. But yeah, anyways, for 31, 1 Samuel 14 and 31, and they smote the Philistines that day from Mishmash and Aelon, and the people were very faint. You see, so the Israelites, man, they need to eat something. It says, and the people flew, they need to rest and eat. So verse 32, and the people flew upon the spoil and took sheep and oxen and calves and slew them on the ground, and the people did eat them with the blood. You see, because of the statement Saul made on them not being able to eat, he caused them to sin. Because that's why I called it a foolish curse. And even in the blue letter, I think on the title on one of the verses, around verse 24, it talks about Saul's foolish actions or something like that. I would get it, but my phone's charging, so I just want to let it charge. But yeah, around verse 24, it actually titles that section as Saul's foolish something. It could be foolish actions or foolish curse or something. But the point is, it was a foolish action that he took. So then in verse 33, they told Saul, saying, behold, the people sin, you see, against the Lord Yahweh, in that they eat with the blood. And he said, ye have transgressed, which means you go against the law. Roll a great stone unto me this day. And Saul said, disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, bring me hither every man his ox, every man his sheep, and slay them here, and eat, and sin not against the Lord Yahweh in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox with him that night, and slew them there. Which even in the scriptures, man, and in the law, which Leviticus mentions, Israelites aren't supposed to be eating blood, man. So I'm going to try to get that one quickly. Hold on. Because I know I had it here. Hold on. Alright, so it says it in actually wait, just wait, bear with me. I want to see if there's a more precise one. I'll just get the one that I had on deck. So Leviticus 3 and verse 17, it says, it shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood. So of course, when it talks about fat as well, I remember probably a few months, some months ago, maybe even last year, where the apostle talks about eating deep fried meat, man. So that's what it's talk about when it says that you eat neither fat, because nowadays you got the fried chicken and all that, that you're eating. It says that ye eat neither fat, frying it in oil, no blood. So best bet is really to just grill meat if you can, man. Now of course, each brother what they can afford to do. But at the end of the day, we've got to do better, man. And also we have to pray for mercy in these times. So it says no blood, man. Because but to be fair though, when it comes to cutting off these amenities or dainties, one could say, in terms of fried chicken and fried food, you would actually benefit far more from cutting it off, man. This fried chicken and all this stuff. Now of course, you gotta pray for the strength to do so, especially when you're new to this truth as well. So that the Most High has mercy upon you, man. And it says no blood. Now of course, it says no blood because it means that's really the point of what I was saying for First Samuel 14 and what's it called? And verse 33, actually 34. I'll read it again. So First Samuel 14 and 34. And Saul said, disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, bring me hither every man his ox, and every man his sheep, and slay them here, and eat, and sin not against the Lord Yahweh, and in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox, and with him that night, and slew them there. So of course, again, Leviticus 3 and 17, and it shall be a perpetual, so it's ongoing, statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood, man. I mean, come and look at it as well. In America, the typical diet for Jake as well is, fried chicken, man. Jake loves fried chicken. So, there's, that's why they gain weight a lot, man. And so that's one thing. It says no blood, man. So of course you ain't supposed to be eating them bloody meats. That's why you got to cook that meat properly, man. Cook that meat properly. Now, of course, this is the law. So this was when, we were inclined to the law. But because of the fact that we're in this day and age, in a time where, we're saved by the grace of Yahushua, we're not trying to overextend it. But the point is, that's why we gain mercy from it, especially when operating in ignorance previously. So, point being is, pray to Yahweh Shah for mercy, and of course, do better. That's really what it is. And there's many other substitutes, man. I even saw a YouTube short on flipping grilling chicken or steaming up chicken with water, man. I was thinking, damn, that's actually some clean method, man. So all we gotta do, because you know how it is with Jake. They find it hard to detach from certain things that they really like. Jake likes food, man. So, but the thing is, you just have to find alternatives to replace, of course, lawful alternatives to replace the fried foods. That's really what I'm talking about. So, but again, that's why we pray for mercy, man, because sometimes, you also eat some takeout as well. Anyways, man, fundamentally, that's why we need Yahushua. That's why we need Yahushua. But anyways, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's unhealthy too. So, the Most High did put these things for no reason in the law. It's to also benefit our vessels. All right, so let's continue on. So that's the reason why, the people sin, man, because the Saul made a curse that for the people not to eat, and then they were eating the meat with blood, man. So they didn't even flipping cook it properly. So Saul said, okay, bring the people, bring your animals, and then let's slay them, and then let's eat them without the blood. So that's Leviticus 3 and 17. All right, let's continue. Let's skip on. So verse 41. So as a result of Jonathan eating of the honey, there was Saul realized this, man. So let's see. Hold on. All right, cool. So I'll start from verse 37. Because Saul realized there was something wrong. So verse 1 Samuel 14 and 37, and Saul asked counsel of the Most High, shall I go down after the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he answered him not that day. So the Most High didn't answer Saul that day when he inquired of counsel. So he was inquiring of advice of what to do with the Philistines, to whether go or not to go. Verse 38, and Saul said, draw ye near hither, all the chief of the people, and know and see wherein this sin hath been this day. For as the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But there was not a man among all the people that answered him. Yeah, man, because, it was reasonable what Jonathan did, man. If you've been hungry after the battle, man, all he did was just get a little bit of honey to, rejuvenate his spirit. Yeah, that must have felt good, man. That's why I said he was enlightened. He was enlightened in the spirit and in the vessel by that honey, which is lawful. So verse 40, then said he unto Israel, be ye on one side, and I and Jonathan my son will be on the other side. And the people said unto Saul, do what seemeth good unto thee. So, do what you want. Verse 41, therefore Saul said unto the Lord Yahweh, the Most High of Israel, give a perfect lot. And Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. So, they casted lots to see, okay, is it amongst the people of Israel, or is it amongst the family of Saul, between Jonathan and Saul? And Saul said, cast lots between me and Jonathan, my son. And Jonathan was taken. When then Saul said to Jonathan, tell me what thou hast done. And Jonathan told him and said, I did but taste a little honey with the end of the rod that was in mine hand. And lo, I must die. So he was saying, just because I ate a little honey doesn't mean I have to die. That's what Jonathan was telling his father, Saul. And Saul answered, the Most High do so, and more also, for thou shalt surely die. Jonathan. So of course, when when it comes to a man keeping his word, man. So that's what was at hand there with Saul. He said even if it was his son, so be it that the person dies. Hold up. Yeah, exactly. That's what it mentions in verse 39, man. It says, for as the Lord, 1 Samuel 14 and 39, for as the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. So that's it, man. So he was trying to keep to his word. That's why it's foolish of him to say so. Now it says, and people said unto Saul, shall Jonathan die, who hath wrought his great salvation in Israel? This great salvation in Israel. Because remember, Jonathan and the armor bearer, these were the two Israelites of whom actually commenced the flipping downfall and the shaking, the fear of the Philistines, man, where they started to bug out and fight each other, as I mentioned in the previous video. It says, and Saul answered, the Most High do... Actually, hold on. Yeah, verse 45, and the people said unto Saul, shall Jonathan die, who hath wrought this great salvation in Israel? The Most High forbid, as the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of his head fall to the ground, for he hath wrought with the Most High this day. So the people received Jonathan that he died not. See, so the Most High intervened, man. The Most High had the people, put the spirit up in the people to defend Jonathan, man, so that he could avoid that death. And that's why it was foolish, man, because the people understood, yeah, man, they were hungry, Especially after flipping battling like that, man, they were faint. So that's the one example of being at the edge of faith, faith, man. Faith at the edge, man, where you're about to die. Really, two times, because Jonathan was about to die, could have died with the Philistines, so that was an act of faith right there. And he also could have died with his own father as well. And so that was another act of faith as well. He didn't lie. He told his father the truth, man. And the Most High defended it. So that's the point right there. These are examples in which we can learn from to apply in our times when we also suffer persecution in these times, man. Your name going in the news, in prison, having to suffer torture or something. Where we need to endure through, or even it could be more so a mental thing as well. It may not necessarily be physical. Obviously, sometimes some brothers will have to suffer physical things. Other brothers more so mental. So let's see. Calm, man. So the point is 2 points of faith shown by Jonathan, man. And that's it again, an example that we ought to apply, man, when we have to suffer what we have to suffer for. Stay strong, keep thine integrity. Alright, so let's get Job. So this is Job chapter 2, starting from verse 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord Yahweh, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. So that also shows that Satan is also one of the sons of the Most High. Really, you can liken the angels as sons of the Most High, so, and of course Satan being one of them. on the left-hand side. So, they gathered themselves, for the council of the Most High. Let's read verse 2. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Searching up who's he gonna target next in it. Now verse 3, and the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, and a perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High, and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. Now it says there, so of course the Most High was saying, have you discovered Job yet? That's what he was saying, man. Escheweth evil. So of course he was really avoiding of evil. He hated evil. He was disgusted by it. Now it says, and still he holdeth fast his integrity. So which means he kept his strong moral principles, which of course are rooted within the scriptures here. And it says verse 4, and Satan answered the Lord Yahweh and said, Skin for skin, yea, all the man hath will he give for his life. So it's like, okay, say it was about to make Job go through a severe season, man. But of course, all through the authorization of the Most High Yahweh. So it says, once again, verse 4, and Satan answered the Lord Yahweh and said, Skin for skin, yea, all the man hath, possessions or whatnot, will he give for his life. Verse 5, but put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. So this was like a bet, man. It's like, I bet you want. See, it was basically saying, I bet if he took everything from him, he's gonna curse the Most High. But that was the test, man. It was like they were casting lots on Job. Saying one thing's gonna happen. Now, of course, see what the Most High is gonna say. Verse 6, and the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. And remember, the Most High, Allah showed you a power, almighty, demon-like power, man. The Most High is the most intelligent being of all. So he's like, okay, Satan, do what you're gonna do, but obviously don't kill him. Don't kill him. So verse 7. So Satan forth. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord Yahweh, and smote Job with sore biles from the sole of his foot onto his crown. So of course he was flipping. He had what we even call it, a disease or a sickness, man. We'll just keep it simple. A disease or a sickness that he plagued Job with, which the Most High ordained, by the way. He said, and he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes, man. Yeah, of course, sometimes when you have certain boils, you start scraping off your skin, man, because it's quite one could say it's a satisfying feeling. Sometimes when you're also, hold on, when you're, what's the phrase? When you're, when you're, I was thinking of scraping a scab or something, scraping a scab or a blister or whatever. Putting something, it'd be satisfying, when you've done that during your younger age. Of course, you learn eventually. It's like, okay, just don't do that. Let it heal naturally. But that's how Joe was feeling, man. It's like, man, he was finding that comfort, with scraping himself. So it says verse 8, and he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Verse 9. So that was like the increase of depression. That was that, you just get hit with this disease, which that also weakens the vessel. Verse 9, then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse the Most High and die. So he was pushed to the edge when the wife would have said that, man. This person is supposed to be loyal to you. You've had children with her. As I mentioned in Job 1, you've had children with her. And now she's telling you to curse the Most High. That would have pushed Job to the edge, man. Again, going with the theme of the video, faith at the edge. You're going to maintain faith at the edge, man. Now, this was Job's response in verse 10. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as a foolish woman. And it says, Speaketh what? Shall ye receive good at the hand of the Most High, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips? So of course that was when he was pushed in the edge of faith, man. You know, just hold on, bear with me. Okay, so just to finish off that verse, in Job 2 and verse 10, but he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High? Shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High, and shall we not receive evil? So of course that's part of the balance. So Job understood that, man, the duality of the Most High Yahweh. It says, in all this did not Job sin with his lips. So despite him being put to the edge, you know, he still maintained faith and his strong moral principles in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, so, and after that, you know, his friends came along and, you know, supported him, man. 7 days of silence, isn't it? You know, as I said in verse 13. But, you know, the point is between verses 1 and verse 10, man. You know, he still kept that integrity. So, Yaharatazar, I need to do a part 3 on this for 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6. You know, on the 90-year-old man who kept his integrity because during that time, you know, they were forcing people to eat swine. But anyways, I'm gonna talk more on the next video, Yaharatazar. So Shalom and Yahweh Bashim Yashai Barakatha. And also double honors to the Muslim apostles.